Good morning and welcome to the citizens of Douglas County. This December 2nd, 2024 work session of Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order. Clerk, would you please call roll?
Yes, ma'am.
For the record. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner District 1, Henry Mitchell.
Present.
Commissioner District 2, Whitney Kenner Jones.
Present.
Commissioner District 3, Martin Raxton.
Present.
Commissioner District 4, Vice Chair Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Chairman Ramona Jackson Jones.
Present. Clerk, did we have anyone sign up for public comment today?
Yes, ma'am, we did, and I apologize. The Deputy Clerk is getting the form as we speak.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, we had one citizen to sign up, and I'll just remind you when you reach the podium to please restate your name, your address, and your subject matter, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the board. Once you've reached your 3 minutes, we'll ask you to wrap up your comments. And when you get to the podium, please speak directly into the mic. The citizen is Ronnie Chestnut.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Mr. Chestnut. How are you doing?
My name is Ronnie Chestnut, and my address is 4272 Willow Ridge Road, Douglasville, Georgia. I'm speaking on behalf of the Winston community, one of the many representatives there that oppose the data center of the Waldrick Farm. I know that this has been a real topic of Winston, of Douglas County. I know that it would impact this area, not only this area, but the school. I know you guys have been privileged to see the maps and the things of that nature, and I asked the question to you guys is, why haven't the schools been involved? Even when you look up on the map. And I know that, many of our, Mattie McCoy and Richardson Rowe and all that have been representative, I know the street behind it is definitely the impact. And some of the people are in to get what they want to get, which I have no problem with that. But that doesn't speak for the whole Winston community. It's going to be affected by the air pollution, by the noise pollution. And I know that Trumbull Crow has painted a pretty picture. And it is. But I asked them, would you want that to be built in your neighborhood, beside your school, beside the kids? Because today it doesn't affect them, but coming down the line, 5 to 10 to 15 years, these kids get up and they have cancer or anything of that nature. I just don't want another Flint, Michigan, or Tuskegee experiment that goes on, because we all doing it for money. And I understand that technology has to take its place. But I asked the question, and I asked each one of you, would you want that behind your house, your school, your children to attend, playing? I know that I've been an advocate of this proposal and to be denied. And I know that some people, as far as money, we do have to make a decision because it will affect the county. But is one body or our lifestyle privy to the pollution, the heavy traffic, the noise, and all the other things that come with it that, we don't encounter? If this company, the lifespan of a data center is 15 years. So when this building is shut down, or if it's shut down, then the taxpayer is going to be responsible for the decommissioning that. And most of those inside of that would be hazardous waste. See, they're not telling everything that needs to be about this data center. And like I said, I'm not opposed to technology. I'm not opposed to, but we're in a rural area, and it will affect the way of life. You got a 70-foot building, to erect, and nothing in Douglas County besides the courthouse is over 70 feet. And we have to look at that coming out the door of my in-laws. So I say to this, I'm opposed to the data center, and I hope that you will tomorrow vote no against the data center. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. Certainly we'll take this matter under advisement Clerk, any other,
No, ma'am.
anyone else today? Okay, thank you so much. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve the agenda for today?
So move.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Please indicate by raising your right hand. If you agree to the agenda, it is 5-0 vote, and the motion carries. Board of Commissioners certainly want to remind all of us as we speak today, we have 3 minutes to make remarks and 2 minutes for rebuttal as we engage in our work session today. Approval of the minutes. Next on the agenda is the minute meetings. Board of Commissioners, please be prepared to approve or deny the minute meetings accordingly tomorrow. Agenda items. We will now begin with our agenda items. And Madam Clerk, would you please start with the first
Yes.
item?
Yes, ma'am. Under grants, we have number 4, authorization to accept the HEAT grant, GA-2025-Douglas SO-106 from the Georgia Department of Highway Safety in the amount of $79,032.11 with a local match of $118,548.17 to be funded by the Sheriff's Office budget, establish the grant budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Susan Shiata.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, the HEAT grant, HEAT stands for Highway Enforcement of Aggressive Traffic, and the grant from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety is a federally funded program from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And the goals of this grant are to reduce crashes, injuries, and fatalities that are related to alcohol and distracted driving, high-speed related driving, and from, I said distracted and drowning. All right, then the HEAT unit accomplishes this through their hotspot data identification of where the majority of these infractions occur, and they concentrate their traffic enforcement in these areas, in these problem areas. For example, in 2023, HEAT made 354 DUI arrests, cited 4,905 drivers for high speeding, and when you add in the drivers not wearing seat belts and other infractions that the HEAT-related unit looks for, that's 13,992 stops in 2023. They also participate in statewide traffic safety meetings and initiatives, and they disseminate traffic-related safety education materials at public events. As we said, the grant is $79,032.11, which our deputies provide 5,898 enforcement hours on the roads. Let's see that. All right, the grant funds fuel, maintenance for the patrol vehicles, that pays for the enforcement hours, travel training for 3 deputies. The program is highly effective, and we see a reduction in all driving infractions in the periods following the mandated enforcement operations, such as, for example, click it or ticket or any of the other operations that the deputies go out and perform. And it is effective, and the Governor's Office of Highway Safety has awarded this grant to the Sheriff's Office for the last 18 years. Does anyone have any questions about it?
Board of Commissioners, do you have any questions for Ms. Shihata? Okay, Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
So the stats that you just read, were those stats throughout the state of Georgia, or were they specific to Douglas County?
That's Douglas County.
Okay, so this is an ongoing grant, like you indicated, that Douglas County Sheriff's Office has had for 18 years.
Right.
Okay, and then, so I guess then the other question is, from a budgeting standpoint, has these funds already been allocated for the local match?
It's part of our budget, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner. Any other questions? Board. Okay, thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Shihata. Madam Clerk, business items, please.
Yes, ma'am. Under business items, number 5, approval for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to renew an agreement with Stanco and Associates Justice Consultants, LLC, for consultant services for the Black Creek Jail Security System replacement, which is enhanced security electronics, at the rate of $4,100 per month from January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025, to be funded by the 2022 SPLOST funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Connor.
Good morning. Like she stated, this is a renewal of an ongoing contract with Stanco for the consultant services for the replacement of the jail security system that's being funded by the SPLOS. This was built into the cost of the completion of the entire job, and it's just a renewal from a contract that's already been approved from last year.
Okay. Any questions, Board? Or
Yes.
Chief? Okay, Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, good morning. Good morning,
Morning.
Chief. So, again, this is an ongoing contract that has been renewed. I guess my question is, there are services that's provided in the contract that we previously agreed to. Can you give us an idea where in the project plan we are with the services? And there's like 11 services, so I'm just curious, where are we in the project schedule here?
So they have they put it out for bid for a I guess an overall site contractor that was done last year, and they are bidding out each individual service. And at this point right now, they're looking for an integrator. And I had another, y'all may have seen the CPS agreement, which is with the current company, Black Creek, that we have. That was on the agenda for today, but I had it removed because we're supposed to have some more clarity of how long this project is going to take. The deal with that contract is when you pay up front, you get a substantial discount when you pay for the whole year versus breaking it into payments. So before bringing that before the board, I wanted to have a better understanding of were we going to need them for 6 months or we're going to need them for 12 months? Because if we need them for 6 months, the price is going to be a little higher than it would be if we had them, had worked it out all year, paying it total. So that should be on the agenda next, and we'll have more clarification of where we're at with the overall project. But as of right now, they're selecting an integrator that can come in and can look at what we've got and start the process of, because Black Creek, even though it was presented as non-proprietary, it has proprietary parts. And so the integrator will come in and figure out, how long it's going to take that we'll need Black Creek on board to, before we can cut them off with the contract, because their contract includes an on-site person. So it's a pretty costly contract. So I hope that answers your question about where we're at with it.
Okay, so you'll have some more updates then just on where we are with the schedule and how long you think from a timeline perspective?
Right, we should have that next agenda meeting. That's why I delayed the contract with the CPS, to find out how long the project is planned to take and where they're at with the integrator, and if the integrator's been brought in to view it.
Okay. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Raxton. Commissioner Kenna Jones, you have the floor.
I just have one really quick question. So you mentioned, I guess the companion service to this is being removed from, or was removed from the agenda. This contract is for the complete year. Is that a need, even if the other contract ends up only being 6 months?
Yes, ma'am, because it's going to take at least a year to get this equipment in place and continue with the process, because it's not just cameras, it's door locks and intercoms and televisions. It's all connected to one. And so we will need his services all year.
Gotcha. I yield back, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Board? Thank you, Chief.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am. Number 6 is approval to award the renovation of the facility at 4655 Timber Ridge to Balfour Beatty in an amount not to exceed $1,903,867 to be funded by the ARPA and the unincorporated fund balance, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. James Worthington.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice
morning.
Chair, members of the board, administration. Thank you for the opportunity. As this says, this is the approval to award the renovation of the facility at Timber Ridge. As you are aware, the Development Services needs to move out of the courthouse to make room for some additional courtrooms. The county purchased the Timber Ridge facility over the summer. It was previously the Strayer University building, so it's set up as classroom. So there's a little bit of renovation that has to happen inside there. The major portion of that is developing our front counter space. We have a long front counter where citizens can come in and kind of walk through all of the departments. So that's kind of the biggest portion of it. The rest of it will be just paint, carpet, general kind of sprucing up of the remainder of the building. We had about 10 different companies come out to the pre-bid meeting. We had 6 different companies provide a proposal. The evaluation team went through the proposals, and this is the low bid, Balfour Beatty. I was able to check some of the references. They checked out well. They've been around for 80 years, 100 years. They're the long-term company. Some of their more recent work was renovations in Georgia State Capitol. They've done work for Johns Creek, Carroll County, a lot of other municipalities. So seem to be very able to do the work. So we're looking to get that approved.
Any questions, board, for our managing director? Okay.
Just
Commissioner Mitchell, you have the
Yeah.
floor.
Just one. Thank you, Madam Chair. James, what's the time frame of this project?
So we had put in the bid proposal to start in mid-January with approximately a 90-day construction period. So that would put us moving in probably in May. So kind of late spring, early summer, we'll be out of this building. And then, as you already know, the board approved the design build contract with the company that's coming in. They'll be starting the design concurrently for the first floor here.
Got it.
So that design work will be underway while this construction work's happening.
Got it.
And then as soon as we move out, we anticipate that construction work will start immediately.
Meaning for downstairs?
Correct.
Okay. So okay. Because I was going to say, you guys are in the building trying to do that downstairs as well.
Right.
That's going to be a little interesting. The only other question I got, though, so is this bid, is it a turnkey, or is it
It
one of
is.
those we can expect some potential changes down the road?
So this is a lump sum, should be turnkey, as you say. We do have a 5% contingency built in, so we're not
Okay.
looking for any changes after that. Kind of the only thing not included in this would be the actual moving cost of moving us out.
Got it.
That would be a separate contract, and we'll be bringing that back before
Okay.
the board.
And so you think the 19 is more than enough to kind of get you to where you want to be?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other questions, board? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 7, approval to forego collection of taxes for property owned by Douglas County located at 4655 Timber Ridge, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. James Worthington.
Hello again. This is to forego the collection of property taxes on the same parcel we were just talking about. The county purchased the property in July. As part of those closing documents, the seller paid a credit to the county for the first half of the year's taxes, but the remainder of the year's taxes would officially be the responsibility of Douglas County to pay those, but it would be kind of paying ourselves. So the board has the opportunity to forego the collection of that taxes. I have talked with the tax commissioner. This was his recommendation of the way to handle this. So I'm just bringing that before the board to forego the collection of those on that particular parcel. Going forward, it'll be county-owned for the whole year, so we won't have to do this again. There'll be no taxes.
Any questions, board? No questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Number 8, approval to award a contract to Canon for an amount not to exceed $48,000 for document scanning of approximately 40,000 large format plan pages to be funded by the engineering department's existing budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Travis McDonald.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. We have a number of engineering blueprint sets of plans that we've approved over the past 30 years or so that we currently store in our office. They take up a lot of space, so we're looking to have those digitized. It'd be a good time to do it now. As James said, we're going to be moving our office soon, so we're looking to have those digitized so we don't have to dedicate a lot of storage space in the new office for the storage of all these plans. we have a one-time contract with Canon to do the digitizing, and we're looking for approval of that contract.
Okay, any questions, board?
Just one quick question.
Okay, Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you and good morning.
Morning.
Just a quick question. After the documents have been scanned, will there be any maintenance or storage costs associated with that we need to also consider for future reference?
Yeah, all the all the records will be stored in DocuWare software, which is what our records department currently uses, and so there will be some, I guess, whatever the cost of that storage on servers is, but that's fairly minimal.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner. Any other questions, board? All right, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you. Number 9, approval of an addendum with Bold Planning to update the hazard mitigation plan in the amount of $8,156 to be funded by the EMA 2024 budget. The contract amount was $32,600, in which $24,444 was funded by the previously approved acceptance of FEMA GEMA HMGP 4501-0076, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. James Queen.
Good morning. This is going to be for the hazard mitigation plan update that is required by federal regulation. It's due for Douglas County in 2026. This is just an addendum to the original Bold Planning contract that we had dating back to 2016. We did put this out for quote. Bold was still the lowest quote that we received at the $32,000, which is $8,000 more than what the original grant was for, but it is in the budget to fund through emergency management this year.
Thank you. Any questions, board director? Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Just a quick question. Does this hazard mitigation plan, does it involve the city?
Yes, it does.
Or looking at all these costs, is there any cost or is there any billing that's been done to the city for their portion of this?
Not that I am aware of.
What would that cost about be? Do you know?
I do not have that exact number.
Okay. All right. Could you just get that and email that over to me?
Yes, I will.
Okay. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair. Any other questions? Board? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Number 10, preliminary plat approval for Post Oaks Down. This was deferred from October 1st, 2024. Allison Duncan.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair and Board of Commissioners. This item has been withdrawn by the applicant, so staff is asking that this be withdrawn from the agenda for tomorrow, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Any questions, board? No questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Okay. Number 11, approval of subrecipient agreements to be funded by ARPA for the following organizations: Recovery Unlimited, $25,000; True Unity Mentoring, $5,200; Daily Bread Ministries, $45,000; and Share House Inc., $150,000. And authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Jill Hobson.
Good
Tiffany
morning.
Stewart Stanley.
It's a team project this morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners. So we're coming before you today with asking for approval for some sub-recipient agreements for some community assistance. Back in 2023, there was an reallocation of funding by the Board of Commissioners for ARPA. At that time, the board wanted us to leave about $300,000 in that category for community assistance. We were charged with working with organizations whose focus was homelessness, domestic violence, and then still some funding for youth. So we've been working with some of these organizations for probably almost a year, trying to get the contracts and the agreements ready to move forward. And so I will let Ms. Hobson give you more details about the individual agreements.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The first one on the list is Recovery Unlimited. This comes from the Juvenile Programs Services Project on the ARPA list, and they will be providing MRT and an ASAM Level 1 substance abuse treatment for youth. The second one is True Unity Mentoring, also under the Juvenile Programs Services Project. which will be providing mentoring services for Transport youth. Daily Bread Ministries, they operate the Shina Camp, which is at the corner of Doris near Connect Douglas. They're going to be making some renovations to the camp to make it more safe. And then finally is Share House. They're a domestic violence shelter and programming in Douglas County, and they acquired a new building that they're going to enhance their services, support groups, et cetera. And we're going to be helping them out getting that building ready.
Okay, thank you. Board, any questions regarding these allocations? Okay, thank you.
Okay, number 12, approval of a contract with Canyon Solutions for an amount not to exceed $65,000 for an enhancement to JCAT software for juvenile court as previously approved by the BOC on November 19th, 2024, to be funded by ARPA, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Jill Hobson.
This is for the juvenile court project from the ARPA list, and it is an existing software they already have that they're making enhancements to. I have a clerk of juvenile court here if you have any questions about the actual software. And this will be a $65,000 ARPA allocation that the board approved at the last meeting.
Thank you. Any questions, board?
Just have a comment.
Okay. Commissioner Kenna Jones, you have the floor.
Just so that the public is aware, JCATS is the equivalent to Peach Court and Odyssey, but for juvenile court. So it's the software that they use to maintain filings. It gives counsel access to see the documents in their clients' cases, make sure that it's updated. And so I know $65,000 may sound like a lot, but it's really not if you consider the cost difference between what it costs the superior courts and state courts to run Peach Court and Odyssey. And so I would just say that this is definitely a software that needs to be supported, because they really can't function or do their job before they had access to JCATS. Everything was either done by paper or coming to the physical clerk's office or through email. And as you can imagine, things get lost. Emails don't go through. You really can't give the best representation possible. And so I would just ask that my fellow commissioners support that. I yield back, Madam Chair. I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much, Commissioner Kenna Jones. Certainly, it sounds like we're moving into the 21st century with this system. Any questions, board? Okay. With that being said,
Okay.
Clerk, thank you so much. Thank you, Jill.
Number 13, approval to enter into a student affiliation agreement with the City of South Fulton Fire Rescue Department to outline the working relationship between Recruit and SFFD, and to develop a mutually beneficial collaboration regarding service learning and other educational experiences with no impact to the fire department budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
Good morning, Madam
morning,
Chair,
Chief.
Vice Chair, Board of Commissioners, County Administrator. Yes, we're asking for this, to enter into this agreement with South Fulton Fire Department for a collaborative effort for our training program. We're looking at innovating things as far as our training goes.
Any questions, board? Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning.
So just a quick question, just reviewing the agreement, is this going to be for one student to attend the program?
Currently, yes, sir.
Okay, so if things do not work out, let's say with this particular student, will there be other opportunities for other students to also go through this program?
We'll explore that, but I would say yes.
Okay, and then how long is the agreement? I didn't see a definitive date. Is this for 1 year? Is this for multiple years? I didn't see like a start and like a term.
I will have to review that. I don't know off the top of my head, sir.
Okay, if you could let me know, that would be great. And again, just wanted to solidify that if something didn't work out for this one student, other students would be able to benefit and utilize this.
I'll get that to you.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Braxton. Any other questions, board? Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Just one, thank you, Madam Chair, just one quick question. So liability, legal, any situational, has legal had a chance to look at this particular agreement like the other prior one that you've had that who's liable in the event that there are some situational problems that may occur with this one individual or others? I mean, I like this, but I'm just want to make sure who's liable.
And that's what the agreement is going to entail.
Okay.
I believe we did send it to legal. I don't know if they had an opportunity to fully look at it.
I don't recall looking at this one, but I will tell you that in all agreements, we ensure, unless it's with another governmental entity, we ensure that the indemnity clause and the liability and hold harmless clause will always be on the vendor or the contractor in which we're entering into business with for whatever goods or service they're providing. Because anything else would be a violation of our constitutional gratuity clause, where we would be agreeing to pay or indemnify a private party for something unknown, right? And so 90% of the contracts that, 100% of the private agreements, we have an indemnity clause where they're to indemnify us.
Okay. Well, as long as you've had that conversation and you guys are okay with this, I'll move forward. But other than that, that was only my concern. If in the event that something goes wrong, that we, won't be out there looking at us. Okay.
Understood.
Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. All right, any other questions, board? All right. Clerk?
Yes, number 14, approval of an agreement with Centos Fire Protection in the amount of $16,362.30 to be funded by the fire department's budget to service for fire sprinklers in stations 1, 2, 7, 8, and 10, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
So through our ITMs, our inspection, maintenance, and testing program, we recognized that there were some repair issues with the following 5 stations that need to be addressed immediately, and that will be handled by Centos Fire Protection.
Okay. Any questions, board? Okay. Clerk? Next one.
Number 15, approval to amend the memorandum of understanding between Douglas County Fire and EMS Department and Right Side Health Physicians, PLLC, agreeing to a name change and term extension with no impact to the fire department budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
So with this memorandum of understanding, we're looking to do this name change with Right Side. They went from Right Side Health Connections or Clinicians to Right Side Health Physicians, PLLC, and the term extension is just to extend it another year.
Okay. Any questions, board? Okay. No questions? Clerk?
Thank you. Number 16, approval of ACCG First Responder PTSD Program application and participation agreement as required by Georgia House Bill 451 in the amount of $23,621 to be funded by the fire department budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
So for 2025, this bill requires public entities in Georgia to provide a supplemental illness-specific insurance coverage for certain first responders diagnosed with occupational post-traumatic stress, PTSD. And the key provision includes defining eligibility, establishing requirements for proof of PTSD, and authorizing state taxation, requiring insurance commissioners to submit annual reports on the use of these benefits.
Okay. Any questions, board? No questions. Okay. Number 17.
Okay. Number 17 is approval to purchase a new ambulance for Fire Station Number 9 in the amount of $301,600 from Fraser Ambulance to be funded by the 2022 SPLOST Fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
And finally, for me, we're looking for approval to purchase a new ambulance for Fire Station Number 9 for $301,000. This ambulance is going to be a demo. The reason we're looking at the demo is because the lead time to manufacture another ambulance will be anywhere between 12 to 14 months. So this is one of the better prices that we got on it.
Any questions, board? Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Chief, thank you for putting the mileage on there, so greatly appreciate having that information on the vehicle itself. Is the vehicle currently located in Houston?
Currently, yes, sir, right now.
Okay, how will it be ported back and transported to Douglasville?
We have two options of either having it on a carrier or actually having it driven.
Okay, so I'm just thinking, will there be any additional costs associated with the transport, either on the carrier, I guess, the carrier costs, if we go that route?
It would if it's on a carrier.
Okay. Okay, and when do you think we could secure it? Do you have an idea?
With some minor modifications and everything, hopefully before maybe February timeframe. There's some things that we need to do to it as far as have it go through vehicle maintenance, lettering, striping, things of that nature.
Okay, thank you. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay. Any other questions, board? All right. Thank you so much, Chief.
Thank you.
Number 18, approval to enter into an agreement with MaxAir Mechanical for plumbing, ventilation, and piping renovations to the Douglas County Animal Services in the amount of $1,424,170 to be funded by the unincorporated fund balance, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Vanessa Franzikowski.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Board of Commissioners, County Administrators. Thank you for having me here this morning. This has been a long road. As many of you know, we've had some issues with the Animal Services building. We have finally gotten to the point where we do have a proposal that we'd like to go ahead and present to you. Giving you a back history on the building just so you have an overall view of what's been going on. The building was opened in May 2017 with no issues that were noted at that time. From 2019 up until today, we've had some issues as far as temperature controls, humidity issues, excess heat in the building, and then temperatures not being controlled during the winter. At the end of 2022, 2023, in December into January, we had our first instance of water damage in the building. That was when we had that deep freeze that lasted a few days. At that point, we had 17 copper pipes burst in the building, which is in the attic. At that point, it caused extensive damage throughout the building. My medical suite, back hallways, my dish room, and our food pantry were all damaged at that point. We did have to evacuate the shelter. We were at Deer Lick Park for 2 weeks, in which that time we were without water at the building, which is, again, why we moved. The insurance took about 3 months to go ahead and approve payment because of the size of the damage to the building. We had second and third adjusters go in there and audit the building just to make sure we're in compliance. At that point, we did get a payment for $92,000, and that was minus our depreciation. At that point, that money was used to go ahead and reconstruct the building as far as the damaged walls, the paints, the ceilings, things like that. Then in January 2024, we had our second water damage. That second water damage started with multiple pipes bursting from the outside of the building into the building. At that point, it did destroy my medical room, my cat room, a secondary food storage building, and the front foyer to the building. When the front foyer was destroyed, so was our fire monitoring station, which at that point we were left without fire monitoring for 2 months, which required shelter staff and myself to stay there on fire watch 24 hours a day. During this time, we've noticed more ventilation issues. At that point, we were working with multiple vendors to go ahead and get, mechanical engineers, to get a full survey of the building and see what was going on. In getting those mechanical engineers and looking at the original blueprints to the building, there were some things that were in the blueprints but that were never put into the building itself. So that, between myself and James Worthington, and Mark Dean, started looking at different vendors to go ahead and give us further mechanical engineer drawings. With those firms, Anchor Heating and Air, Dueling Weeks, and MaxAir, all confirmed that there are some deficits in the building. One of the larger ones that we have is ventilation, where we should have an exchange of about 20 air exchanges an hour. We have 1.5, which is leading to the ammonia smell in the kennels, along with the heating and ventilation issues. At this point, we have gotten with MaxAir, we did put this out for bid. So July 31st was when the mechanical engineer finished their report. We did put the bid out in October. We had 5 vendors show up with 0 bids placed. At that point, James Worthington, myself, Mark Dean, started looking for other areas that we could go ahead and get some proposals. MaxAir did come back with a proposal for the 1.4 million. We are looking at possibly a 6-month time frame, with the priority being that the installation in the attic, our pipes need to be heat traced. That would be the priority just because history speaks. The past 2 years, this is when we've had those breaks.
Okay. Thank you so much, Director. Board of Commissioners, any questions? Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Okay, so we've been dealing with this for a while. James, maybe James should come up here as well.
Yes, sir.
So I know, going back over this, we've had multiple issues with the pipes running through the attic. With the heat tracing on these copper pipes, are we sure that we're not going to be reliving this whole experience again? Because honestly, when it fell to 25 the other day, my mind, I went right back to the animal shelter, and I was
Me too.
crossing the fingers saying, please, Lord, no. But are we sure that, putting these heat traces on these pipes, we're going to be able to, keep the
Yes.
pipes safe?
So that was the reasoning behind hiring Dulary Weeks, the mechanical engineer, to go through the building completely, make the recommendations, say what will be. We told them we didn't want a Band-Aid. I mean, we need a permanent fix. We've, had a lot of issues here. Their recommendation, they submitted a full set of plans of everything that needed to be done. They had investigated options, including like spray foam in the attic, moving plumbing. This is what they came up with. The heat trace, so there's insulation on the pipe now, commercial pipe insulation. That'll be removed. The heat trace will be put on. It's thermostatically controlled, and then insulation will be back around it. So it's a fairly significant amount of work to do it, but it should definitely fix the problem. And again, we're leaning to the experts on this. This is what they say will fix it. And this is considered the industry standard. Sorry.
Okay. And two, now with the HVAC, getting those additional returns to pull all that air out of inside there, because I don't know if my fellow commissioner's been over there or not, but the last 2 times I've been over there, it was bad.
So this will be a significant upgrade in the HVAC. There is currently, I believe, 17 HVAC units in the facility, but they're all kind of individual, smaller zone units. This will be one enormous dedicated outdoor air unit. Think of like the size of say a van or something sitting outside. This will condition the air and feed all of those units fresh air. And then the currently small exchange air fans will be removed and upgraded to significantly larger, so we'll meet all of those air exchange rates that should be in place. It'll also be supplying it with conditioned air, meaning cool, dehumidified air in the summer, which will eliminate our humidity issues that we've had in the summer. Plus, it will help with the the temperature control in the building, because currently it's just pulling in outside air. So if it's 100 degrees, you're pulling in 100-degree air. So this will condition it, bring it in, cool, dry air. This is, again, the industry standard. It's an expensive undertaking, but it should alleviate all of the issues.
Okay, and thank you because that was my next question, was it going to be able to control that outside air that's being pulled into the building? Okay, that's all the question I have. I yield back, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Vice Chair. Any other questions? Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning. So just out of curiosity, I know you said that we had the engineering firm come in. I want to know what else. What other activity, what other issues, what other physical concerns with the facility are we potentially looking at? And do we have an idea what those costs could be?
So everything, when we had the mechanical engineers come in, they did a complete survey of the entire building. So from top to bottom. The biggest issues that they had were the attic, which was the bursting pipes, so the lack of insulation there. They did have the ventilation, so the lack of air and the temperature control in there. And then they had a plumbing issue, whereas in our dish rooms and our laundry room, for some reason, the plumbing was built above ground when it should actually be below ground. I believe that was everything
Yeah, that was the only things the mechanical engineer pointed out. The plumbing issues are very minor compared to everything else. It's basically, if you're familiar with the way your washer and dryer is in your home, you'll have a drain that kind of runs up. We're experiencing the same thing, but this is a large commercial washer. So it dumps into a holding well and then pumps into it. But that drain goes right back under the floor. So they're proposing to cut into the floor and tie that drain in so you eliminate that one pump. So you just get automatic drainage without the pump.
Okay, so in essence, we don't think anything else. We think this is it, as far as, based on the surveys, based on the research, that this should, hopefully eliminate from a facility standpoint some of the issues that's been experienced.
Yes.
Okay. And then just from a timing frame again, what if we, once approved?
So I believe we said about 6 to 9 months.
So the long lead item is the dedicated outdoor air unit. That's not an off-the-shelf item. It'll have to be manufactured. So once we do the contract, approve the contract, they would start that manufacturing process. The heat trace is off-the-shelf stuff, so it would just be a timing of getting it in, getting the contract in place, and getting the labor up there to do it. So I would expect the heat trace to happen quickly. We're obviously going to push for that to happen immediately. The dedicated outdoor air service would probably run closer into, I hope before the summer gets here, before the temperatures rise again, that would all be complete. That would be ideal for the contractor as well, because they're going to be doing a lot of work in the attic. They don't want to be up there when it's 150 degrees. So probably looking at between starting immediately and maybe 6 months down the road to be completely finished.
Okay. All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Braxton. Any other questions, board? I just had one regarding the OR, the operating room. Certainly the airflow is positive pressure there, and you need a laminar flow exchange for surgeries, particularly your orthopedic type surgeries. So is that going to be okay? Have you factored that operating room in?
Right now it is humid in that room, which again, I think the humidity issues will be controlled once the ventilation is taken care of. We do have the negative pressure. It is it's a unit, it's a surgical unit. So we do keep it relatively cool in there. That has been a little bit of challenge, especially during the summer with the humidity. We've made it work with just bringing in some fans and things like that. It should resolve the problem. I don't have any quarrels with it not.
Okay, because with that humidity, it increases opportunity for infections.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to address that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have no further questions. Thank you all. Madam Clerk.
Yes, ma'am, excuse me. Number 19, authorization to award a construction contract with Rayland in the amount of $5,890,301 pursuant to ITB 24-41 in connection with the new landfill transfer station project to be funded by the 2022 SPLOST funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Oh, okay. Julia Jenko.
Sorry. Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Commissioners, County Administration, excuse me. This, we just recently on Friday, or actually Tuesday of last week, we selected the recipient for this proposal. This is to replace the old transfer station that burned and includes the updates and the creations. We're going to be expecting this to go to contract early 2025, if not sooner. Ideally, I want to target by the end of the month, but I know how contracts are and how holidays go, so it may or may not take place. The length of the contract will be dependent on once we can get started on the actual build, and we've already completed the design. It's ready to go, so it's just a matter of putting together the contract to build. We're targeting 6 months, but it could be a little bit longer than that.
Any questions, board? No.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Number 20, approval of the resurfacing list of roads for submittal to GDOT for the FY 2025 LMIG grant program application in the amount of $1,505,872.53 with a 30% required local match. to be funded by the 2022 SPOS funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Suleiman Rana.
Good morning, Madam Chair,
morning.
Vice Chair, Board of Commissioners, and County Administrators. This is our annual resurfacing effort for fiscal year 2025 that is often initiated by an application to the state for LMIG funds, which supports resurfacing statewide. We also have SPLOST 22 allocations in the amount of $1.5 million, making the complete budget of $3 million. That allows for us to do a total of 7.89 miles, approximately 2 miles per district. The resurfacing list, even though brief, covers some major roadway segments in each district and a few minor residential roads that we could incorporate in the mix. Therefore, we're requesting your approval to submit this application to the state for grant and eventually for our local contract earlier next year. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Director? Okay. All right. Madam Clerk.
Okay. Number 21, approval of a supplemental agreement with iWork to be utilized by DOT administration for utility permits at an annual cost of $16,000 and a one-time setup fee of $500 to be funded by the DOT budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Suleiman Rana.
In May of this year, DOT bought iWorks for their working platform, where we replaced an outdated software to facilitate our working platform, consolidate all practices on one shared working platform, which enhances our efficiency and lets us respond sooner to complaints and address issues on roads. Our staff has been very satisfied with the results, so we inquired about a utility module, which has also been a need of DOT. We've been working on digitalizing the utility permitting side of our operations. They do have that module, and we were able to work out a cost of $16,000, which is very reasonable compared to some other options. We also conferred with our IS department, and they concur with this recommendation. Therefore, we will be utilizing our departmental budget to pursue this effort, and we're requesting your approval. Thank you.
Any questions for Director Rana? Okay. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Number 22, approval of task order with KCI Technologies in the amount of $17,816 in connection with Highway 166 at Chapel Hill Road Roundabout Project to be funded by the 2016 SPLOS funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Suleiman Rana.
Thank you. This is a SPLOS 2016 project where the county is proposing intersection improvements at the intersection of Chapel Hill and State Route 166. Our initial recommendation is to design a single-lane roundabout at this intersection, which solves both the congestion and the safety issues on this intersection. However, throughout the process, there's been a change of policy at GDOT, Georgia Department of Transportation, which adds on to the scrutiny and part of their involvement in any local-led process. What that does is it increases the amount of effort a consultant has to put in, requiring additional plan sets and additional reviews by state professionals. This $17,000 covers the additional amount of work that will be required, and we're recommending your approval. Thank you.
Any questions for Commissioner Braxton?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam
Floor.
Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. So just a quick question, and thank you for the explanation, because it looks like there was additional rigor and requirements that were put in by the state. Does this delay anything? And if so, what is that delay timeline?
It pushes the project out by at least 2 quarters. Initially, we were anticipating construction by fall of 2025.
Right.
Now we're looking at spring to summer of 26.
Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay. All right, Director Rana, just a question for you. I noticed along that 166 corridor that meets Chapel Hill, I was driving that corridor about maybe a month ago and noticed I thought there were some lights. We were going to place some lights. What happened?
Yes, so the light process has been approved. It's been funded. There was a state permit that we approved here earlier on last year. The issue is the Greystone. This is one of the largest stretches. It's about 2 miles of streetlights. I think the count was close to 100. They do have some backlog in their practice. We're just waiting on Greystone to really get on this project and get to work. Their plan was to start the streetlights by November of this year. So they're certainly falling behind, and would be happy to follow up and see where they stand.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much. The intent was to make sure that those students that are driving along that 166 corridor coming from New Manchester High to Chapel Hill, just wanted to make sure there was some light. I said, uh-oh. But it's still on the radar. Is that what you're
It
saying?
definitely is. It's a program project just waiting on the vendor to deliver on their contract.
Okay. And not only the students, people that can't see like
Mm-hmm.
myself,
Like me.
and after 30 is over. All right, well, any other questions, board? Okay. Madam Clerk?
Okay, number 23, authorization to accept Congressman Scott's earmark funding and a supplemental project framework agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation in the amount of $1,062,500 with a local match of 20% to be funded by the 2022 SPLOST funds in connection with the project PI 0013563, Lee Road, South Sweetwater Road widening project, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon Rana.
So this project is roadway widening of Lee Road from I-20 to US 78. This is referred to as Phase 1 of the Lee Road series of projects. This project is currently under design. We initiated the design in 2022 with only $453,000 in federal funding. The entire cost of the design was expected to be $2.8 million. So while we started the project, we proactively submitted applications to secure additional funds. Over time, this is our third iteration of additional federal funds. We have now closed the gap with exactly $2.8 million in federal funds with 20% local match supported by SPLOST. Therefore, we're recommending your approval on accepting the funds and also entering into a supplemental agreement with Georgia Department of Transportation. Thank you.
Any questions, board? Commissioner Raxton?
Yes, just one question. So just given what's going to occur starting January with the new congressperson now representing the district, will we still be able to get additional funds in the future?
So while these funds are encumbered, so there's no questions about what we've received so far. In the future, we'll have to assess on whose jurisdiction the project will fall and contact the respected elected officials to request congressionally directed spending. There's no indication of any reduction in any sort of congressional CDS fundings or the competitive funding, so we don't expect any funding levels to change. Of course, Congressman Scott has been very effective for securing federal funds for our purposes, and we hope to have the same relationship with whoever comes next.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Madam Chairman, yield the floor back to you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, board? If not.
Good job.
Oh, okay. Great job. Madam Clerk, you have the floor.
Number 24, approval to extend the on-call professional transportation consulting services contract of all selected consulting firms for a period of 12 months pursuant to RFQ 23-019 and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon Rana.
Thank you. So there are about 13 specialty categories that are required to deliver a transportation project. In 2023, County advertised an on-demand professional contract requesting RFPs from all consultants interested in providing those services for the county. Now, these are mostly related to transportation services, but are also available for use for other departments. For example, Connect Douglas, Parks and Rec, whoever needs those services, they can utilize this contract. This was our first year with about 11 firms who committed to providing those 13 different services, and we've been satisfied with the consultants we've retained. The initial bid allows for 4 renewals. This will be our first, and given the satisfaction, we're recommending that you extend this for another year. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions, board? Okay. Madam Clerk?
Okay, number 25, approval of a contract with Bartow Paving Company, LLC, in the amount of $1,110,000 in connection with the Post Road at I-20 Interchange Project pursuant to ITB 24-036 to be funded by the 2022 SPLOST funds and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Director Rana.
Post Road at I-20 Interchange Improvement Project is a SPLOST 2016 and 22 project with shared funding from both programs. Phase 1 of this project was to improve the shoulders. Phase 2 was to install a traffic signal on the eastbound approach, and Phase 3 proposed additional turn lanes on the interchange. With Phase 1 and 2 both successfully completed, We're now ready for phase 3, which proposes installation of 4 turn lanes on the interchange. We received 5 responses, and Bardo Paving was the lowest and the most responsive bidder, and we're recommending your approval on this contract. Thank you.
Any questions, board? Okay, Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Okay. Once this is awarded, how long will it take?
The construction time we anticipated to be 6 months, but then there's substantial utility presence. Give or take, we're expecting 9 months for the construction period.
Okay. And I know my citizens are going to be extremely excited about this. The new lights they absolutely love, but as you and I have discussed, there are just a little bit with congestion backing up people because there are no turn lanes to get on I-20 to head eastbound. So I'm really excited. I was just wanting you to say that about when it's going to begin, so to give my constituents time to, just be patient. It's coming. But I want to thank you for everything that your department has done on this intersection. It's really, really a great improvement for District 4.
Thank you.
I go back, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair. Any other questions, board, or comments? Okay. Madam Clerk?
Okay. We are on number
26.
my place here. 27?
27.
26, I'm sorry.
I see it.
Approval of a supplemental agreement with Pond and Company, Inc. to perform engineer of record services in connection with the Post Road at I-20 interchange project with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Director Rona.
Pond and Company served as our prime designer on the subject project, which is Post Road at I-20 interchange. With design completed and all the permits acquired, we have about $12,000 left in the contract. We would like to request your permission to repurpose those funds towards construction services, where they'll serve as our engineer of record, which is a service which would have been required anyways. So in this case, we'll be able to utilize the remaining $12,000, extend their contract by a year, and retain them for the period of construction. Recommending your approval on this contract.
Any questions, board? Clerk, I would just like to see inserted, you said 12,000 is what you need. That's the overage, the amount that you said you would like to.
It's existing.
It's existing,
Savings,
okay.
and we'll just repurpose this towards this use.
Okay. All right. Any questions, board? Okay. With that being said, clerk, you have the floor again.
Okay, number 27, authorization to accept a work agreement with Georgia Power to relocate street lights in connection with the Post Road at I-20 interchange project in the amount of $14,964 to be funded by the 2022 SPLOST funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Director Rona.
So with turn lanes added, there are a few utility conflicts, including street lights, which the county installed for the interchange. With the turn lanes coming in, we now have to get those relocated, but at a greater offset. The cost of that is $14,000, which is comparatively very reasonable because the offset is not so great. So therefore, we're recommending your approval on this work agreement. Thank you.
Any questions, board, or comments? I just have one comment on that Post Road thing. Is it any way they could put a brighter bulb in because it's still a little dim for me?
Certainly.
Maybe, is it dim to you, or is it just me?
No, I'm
You
good.
can see, you can see. I want the whole place lit up. So, okay.
As they relocate, we can look into how we can make it brighter.
You give us a little more intensity of the
Sure.
light. Okay, thank you. Any other questions, board, or comments? All right, thank you so much, Director Suleiman. Rana,
Thank you.
thank you.
Number 28, approval of a contract with Barry Dunn for an amount not to exceed $197,450 for grant administration support as previously approved by the BOC on November 19, 2024, to be funded by ARPA, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Director Anthony Choice.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, County Administration. Thank you for allowing us to stand before you today. The Procurement Department was contacted by the CFO and the Grants Oversight Manager concerning the ARPA construction or ARPA grant support services. The contract was running out in September of this year. Because time was of the essence, procurement decided to go to BidNet, Georgia Procurement Registry, as well as the state of Georgia contract to seek a contractor for these particular services. In the search, we did find that in BidNet, the city of Stonecrest, Georgia, had actually submitted an RFP for these particular services and had awarded it to Barry Dunn. And then we also found that Barry Dunn was a part of the state contract as well. The grants oversight manager and the CFO actually wanted the particular services to run through the next 4 years. And because of this, we solicited Barry Dunn with an RFQ, asking them to provide us with pricing. We're here today seeking your authorization to proceed with a notice of award to Barry Dunn, McNeil, and Parker in the amount not to exceed $197,450, which was over the next 4 years and will end in March 31st, I believe, of 2027. The actual breakout of that is in 2024 will be $51,450. In 2025, it will be $81,600. In 2026, it will be $42,400. And in 2027, it will be $22,000. This is a significant expense. It's a significant savings by going with Barry Dunn compared to the current contractor that we have, whom the services actually ended in September of this year. I am here for any questions you may have, as well as Jill is right here with me as well.
Okay. Any questions forward? Okay, Commissioner Raxton.
All right. Good morning, Director.
Good morning, sir.
So the statement of work is to start December 3rd. Is that correct? If approved?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay. With that being said, are we projecting 210 hours in 2024?
That I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many hours are being projected in 2024.
Because that's what's in the agreement for projected cost of the $51,450.
And I'm sure that's going to have to be adjusted. Right. So I'm not sure what the adjustment will be. However, this was, I guess you can say this was done back in September. So if you look at the timeline from September to now, we do have a few months in there that they would have liked to have started work. So I'm sure that that projection will change, sir.
Okay. So could we get that, I guess, adjustment made before it's brought back tomorrow? Because
Yes,
that
sir.
would change the cost.
Not a problem at all. That's why we asked for it not to exceed, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes,
Madam
sir.
Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner. Any other questions? Vice Chair, you have the floor.
You just mentioned it was going to be a significant savings from our previous vendor. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
have an estimated savings?
Do you remember that savings amount? What was it current? To get us through May. Yes. So it'd be 434,000. We got us through May of 2025. This actually takes us through 2027.
Okay, for roughly about the same amount?
No, sir. Actually, it's a significant savings. When you have 430,000 with the current contract or the previous contract, excuse me, which would have gotten us through May, we're actually saving approximately $300,000 by going with this particular service. I don't know the math, not that good in my head with the math from 197 to 430. However, there is a significant savings of at least 200,000 right there.
And this is from the previous contract, wasn't that Landmark?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vice Chair. Any?
I did want to say, let me just.
Okay, Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
So the savings, I'm assuming it's going to go back into this bucket to kind of move everything else forward.
Yes, sir. It already has.
Oh, it already has?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so, I mean, but when we get to the end of this project in 4 years, there will be a significant savings, from my understanding, that would allow you, if there's any adjustments needed, to kind of pick up those adjustments that may come about. Not sure what they are, but they could be, and or to complete another project down the road. I mean, am I correct in my thoughts, or?
Yeah, I think that, and I'm not sure, that may be a question for our grants services manager. However, I'm not sure how the services are compared to for the grant operators compared to the services that you're asking.
Got
And I'm
it.
thinking you're asking about the significant savings that went into different services.
Correct.
And I don't know if there's a difference between the two.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you. So the money that we would potentially have used with the prior contractor has already been reallocated in our ARPA reallocation.
Okay.
So last meeting, we approved the $197,000 to be allocated. This is the contract. This will take us through 2027, but as we know, all of the ARPA funding has to be encumbered by the end of this year. So when we get to 2027, if we want to move forward with some different grant management opportunities with a different company or this company, we would have to get some more funding from the board or whatever would be available at that time.
So we need more funding, but even with the savings, and you got to use it at a certain
Yes.
time frame too, though.
So we would have already used the funding because we've already reallocated it in that list that we came before you last meeting, and we said, hey, we want to break down the ARPA allocations this way. But when we get to 2027, all the ARPA projects should be finished. So any funding that we would need for like grant management or grant someone to help us with our grants, we would have to look at another funding source, whether it be money from another grant or money from the general fund.
Right,
We would
but the
have to
savings is what I'm alluding to, though, is
Yeah.
that because we got to use those ARPA funds within a certain time frame, that we're using those ARPA funds.
Yes.
We're not losing them because
is
we
correct.
did such a great savings.
Yes.
You know, so,
Yes.
but I don't know if you want to add something to this, like I just felt that you was coming in.
Save the day.
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell, you are correct. However, by 2027, the ARPA funds are supposed to close out. That's
Correct.
why this contract extended through that period, so they will assist with the winding down and closing out of the project, so that we'll be in good shape when
Good.
we audited.
And my major concern was that the savings is great, but we're using the savings.
Yes,
is
sir.
what my concern is, not to lose the savings after all the hard work you guys have put into this and have such a substantial amount of savings.
They've been used, correct,
So
Commissioner?
you're going to make sure they use them, though, right?
That's correct,
Okay, all right.
Commissioner.
Thank you very much. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. All right.
Okay.
Madam Clerk.
Number
Thank you.
29, approval of a contract.
Thank
with-
you, Director Joyce. Okay, you have.
Approval of a contract with Tyler Technologies for an amount not to exceed $104,694 for the Munis Projects and Grants Module as previously approved by the Board of Commissioners on November 19th, 2024, to be funded by ARPA and the 2024 Information Services Budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Alex Betancourt.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair,
morning.
Commissioners, and staff. So what we're proposing is to use the ARPA allocation for grant management software. So we can purchase a module for our existing financial systems to manage ARPA, to manage grants and projects. We had our grants team and some members from our finance department meet with the vendor and do demonstrations and make sure that this serves their purposes. And they all signed off on it, so we'd like to move forward.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, we have any questions or comments? All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Director Betancourt. Thank you. Madam.
That concludes the agenda items.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any other comments, Board of Commissioners, before I check with the attorney, county attorney, to see if we need to go into executive session? Attorney Wiggins, do we need to go into executive session?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
It'll be for a litigation matter. I'm not in personnel. I'm hearing, if you just want to mention all 4 reasons,
Yes.
that will give us some
Yes.
latitude.
Okay. All right, Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to go in executive session?
Madam Chair, I motion that we go into executive session to discuss litigation, personnel, real estate, and
Cybersecurity.
cybersecurity.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. In the discussion, Board, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote to go into executive session. Certainly, citizens of Douglas County, certainly, the Board of Commissioners will be taking a brief moment. We will leave this area to go into executive session, and we will return momentarily. So, Clerk, anything else before we go up?
We'll just go upstairs.
Okay, thank you. We shall return.